Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and honor and glory be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Dash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, the rule world. Blessings to the hopeful elect out there listening and learning and teaching this word in sincerity and truth. In the sincere hopes that we may edify and feed the lambs of Yahweh Shai, especially in these last days. And this is going to be a quick lesson, pretty much dealing with what you're seeing on the screen. I'm going to put the captions up because I don't want to play the sound because I don't want to get a strike. This is from BBC News. It says Iran. This was put up 16 hours ago. Alright, so it could be seen as late news, but I'm going to do a video on it because I just came across something and it drew, something that was brought to my attention. Which again, I'm going to go into some predictive programming shown in the movie Top Gun, Maverick, I believe it's called. All right. In fact, let me fact check that. Top Gun Maverick, I believe it's called, the one with Tom Cruise. Top Gun Maverick, and I believe it came out in 2022. So 2022 Top Gun Maverick, and pretty much that's the movie right there. It came out in 2022. As you can see, it's an action/adventure. And pretty much it goes into what's the overview? It says 30 years of service in elite group Top Gun graduates prepare for a high-profile mission where Maverick battles his past demons. Let me see if I can get something. Maverick secret mission. Which I kind of went into this a little bit already. In one of my other videos last week, I believe it was. So this is an AI overview. I just typed in Top Gun Maverick, secret mission. So there's a secret mission in the movie Top Gun, and this is AI overview. In Top Gun Maverick, the secret mission is to destroy a nuclear enrichment facility belonging to a rogue nation. All right. Now, does that, that rogue nation? It's really not a rogue nation because you know who they're, pretty much targeting right now, and you see what's going on with Iran and Israel, which is why I have this on the screen right now. From the BBC News, Iran warns U.S. attack will bring hell to region as Trump says negotiation. And the scripture says in Jeremiah, I think it's 49:20, that the least of the flock shall draw them out. What you got to do is you got to listen to this. Because there's something that this individual says right here. Okay. It says nuclear program without American military action. Their public statements, though, are defiant. We think that this war is not an American war, but if they would like to get into this war, President Trump will be remembered forever for a war that it was not his war, but dragged in. You hear that? He will be remembered for a war that was not his war, but it was dragged in. And what did we just quote? Jeremiah 49:20, the least of the flock shall draw them out. That's talking about them small hats. Okay, so pretty much things are about to pop off. We are definitely in the last days. All right, you got the allies of Iran, you got Russia back in Iran. Even yesterday, I shared a clip to a couple of the Arkim in the chat about Russia saying that, look, they're not gonna back down from back in Iran. All right, remember the scriptures speak about the Lord's putting hooks into Russia's jaws. You dealing with Gog in Ezekiel 38 chapter, the chief prince. In fact, the word the name Russia goes back to chief prince, Ra'ash Shah. Ra'ash meaning chief and Shah meaning prince. All right, like Elder Apostle Tahar has been going into. Like even when you say Yasha Allah, Yah meaning he, Shah meaning prince, and Allah meaning power. He is the prince of the power. All right, that's what Israel means. Okay, so Russia, Ra'ash Shah meaning chief prince. All right, and they're going to be a guard unto the Persians. The scriptures speak about that in Ezekiel the 38th chapter. All right, and again, in fact, I don't even mention it, but fair use. I'm not making any money from this video. I'm just doing this purely for educational purposes. We're teaching the biblical prophecies, man. We ain't making no money off this video. But let's take that bit back. Let's take that bit back right here. It says, it's not an American war, but if they would like to get into this war, President Trump will be remembered forever for a war that it was not right? His, but dragged in, and this will be a quagmire, and this will be hell for the whole region. So this is what I'm saying. We're keeping an eye on what's going on over there in the so-called Middle East. All right, but now pay your attention to this, because I wanted to really focus on this here. Now they say that they got this nuclear enrichment facility just south of Tehran in a place called Fordo. And they're saying that this place with Israel capabilities, it's damn near impossible for them to get to this enrichment facility. Okay, uranium enrichment facility. Which, remember, if you want to again feast your eyes on that AI overview, again, predictive programming. What did they say in Top Gear? Oh, sorry, Top Gun. I keep saying Top Gear. Right, Maverick. It says the secret mission was to destroy a nuclear enrichment facility belonging to a rogue nation. Now, bearing in mind, when they went into the secret mission in the movie Top Gun Maverick, they went in there and it was damn near impossible to get in and get out of. They had to use, top pilots. That's why they had to bring in Tom Cruise, and he was a top pilot from back in the day. They brought him back in to pretty much do this mission, and it was set in a low mountainous region, like a valley, and they had to get in with planes. And it was so steep, this valley, that they had to hire top, hence the movie Top Gun. They had to hire top guns in order to do this mission, to go in, bomb this facility and get out. But I believe Tom Cruise ended up getting, stranded in the region or enemy territory, behind enemy lines, basically. And if you noticed, in order for them to get out, Top Gun, Tom Cruise, he had to use F-14 fighter jets. Now, these F-14 fighter jets, I believe, right, they were actually given to them by the US in the 70s, back in the day. In fact, F-14 Iran. Now, let's just type in F-14 Iran. Okay. And these F-14s, they were actually used in order for Tom Cruise to get out of this situation that he was behind enemy lines. It says Iran's F-14s. Now, they said in the movie that it was a rogue nation. All right, but Iranians, they own F-14s. Okay, it says Iran's F-14s. Iran acquired a total of 79 F-14 Tomcats from the US, right, before the 1979 Islamic Revolution. All right, excuse me. It says, so Iran had the jets when Iran-Iraq war started in 1980, with Iran using them in pursuit of air superiority for air defense. Iran said its F-14s shot down more than 100 Iraqi aircraft. Okay, now remember, the scripture says, be circumspect. Be not ignorant of a great matter or small. We're supposed to, when we see these things, predictive programming, we see these news articles, we see what's going on in these movies, these TV shows, we're supposed to pretty much look at it with a discerning spiritual eye and understand that these things are all planned, man. Okay, they're planning to actually go up in, right, to quote unquote quell the chaotic situation with these uranium enrichment facilities. Okay, let me type in F-14's Top Gun. Let me see what comes up here. Right, now check this out. Okay, now why would the same F-14s that are spoken about, that Iranians had possessed 79 of, right, from the US in the 70s, all right, going into the 80s, it says the AI overview, it says F-14 Top Gun, right? It says the F-14 Tomcat is a prominently featured in the movie Top Gun, where it serves as the aircraft of choice for Pete Maverick Mitchell and his RIO Nick Goose Bradshaw at the elite Top Gun school. Okay, so this is what they're showing you in the movie, and there's even people that's done breakdowns on this saying that, look, is the rogue nation mentioned, or the top mission where America had to go in and bomb this uranium enrichment facility, could that actually be talking about Iran in the movie? And this was put out there in 2022. All right, but here it is, fast forward to 2025. They're actually doing it. Now, feast your eyes on this again. Remember, the Apostle Paul said in Ephesians 5:15, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Remember, we always have to filter this through scripture. All right, we have to definitely, pretty much keep our eyes wide open, man. Okay, because, hey, we're in a time of wars and rumors of wars. We're in a time where the Lord is putting hooks into Russia's jaws, which is known as Gog in in Ezekiel 38. And Magog means from Gog. Okay, so that's dealing with Russia. So now check this out. Now this is dealing with the facility over there. Okay, it says, let me take it back a few seconds. Right, this will be held for the whole region and will likely follow American attack deeply buried in the nuclear site of Fordo, south of Tehran. Getting to this facility is near impossible with existing weapons, and Israel's current arsenal is deep inside the mountain, which when you go into the movie Top Gun, they actually portrayed that this top mission that they had to do is where they had to send in these Top Guns deep inside the mountain to get in and get out and destroy this uranium enrichment facility. Okay, so we're seeing this play out, man. Okay, this is all set up. All right, we're definitely at the end. You know, we have to keep our eyes wide open in these last days. The Lord said, when you shall have wars and rumors of wars, you know, see then that you know, be not troubled, for the end is not yet. So we're definitely at that time. You know, wars, rumors of wars, nation against nation, earthquakes in diverse places, pestilences, you name it. We're not in a time of peace. The scriptures speak about a time of peace and a time of war. We're definitely in a time of war. All right. And he said it will be, you know, hell for the whole region, basically. Okay. So, you know, keep your eyes on the so-called Middle East, because things are definitely about to heat up. We're about to see all-out war. But before the World War III fully kicks off, because this is going to be the war that's going to drag all these nations into it because of their allies. Remember, Iran's got their allies. They're backed by Russia. Russia's got their allies, China, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and many more to go with it. All right, and even Turkey. You got Turkey that's not happy with the situation that's going on over there with Iran and Israel as well. All right, they haven't been happy. They voiced their opinions. You know, you got Russia in talks with Erdogan, you know, who's the head of Turkey at the moment. So you see what the things are going on. You know, there's definitely things going on. And, you know, the least of the flock shall draw them out. This is going to be the war to end the wars, if you will. Okay, but before this happens, the chip is going to get pushed. Right? That's why the scriptures speak about he's moving with great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. See, this devil, they don't seem to understand. The scripture says the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. All right, so ultimately they don't really have control of what's really going on here, because the Most High is putting it into their minds to do what he wants them to do. The Lord mustereth the hosts of the battle. All right, so this is the time that we're in. Okay, and like I said, I don't want to make this too long. I just wanted to do a quick to the point lesson, just going into, you know, there's certain things that are, you know, predictive programming that they put into these movies in order to show you. In fact, let me type in Top Gun secret mission. What was Top Gun Maverick's secret mission? Okay, let's go into it. Right, it says in Top Gun Maverick's secret mission, right? The secret mission involved a team of elite Navy fighter pilots tasked with destroying an unsanctioned uranium enrichment plant in a rogue nation before it becomes operational. You see that? Okay, it says the target is an uncompleted uranium enrichment site, which eliminates Russia, China, and North Korea from the target list, because those countries already have nuclear weapons, thousands of them in Russia's case. So you see that? So it basically, they're saying it can't be Russia, China, and North Korea because they already have, you know, nuclear weapons. So who is this implying? It's got to be implying Iran. Okay, we told you about them F-14s that Iran has, and they were using F-14s. Okay, F-14 Top Gun Maverick. They were using F-14s, right, to get out of there when they were stranded behind enemy lines. Okay, so but you can watch that for yourself. You know, you can get into that and watch that movie for yourself if you want to get into it. But I just wanted to just put that in there because, you know, we're being watchmen, man. The scripture says, watch ye therefore as well as pray that you enter not into temptation. We're in a time of watching. We're in a time of war. We're not in a time of peace. Let's see if there's any more here. So it says, if the US attacks, they would have to use the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. It is the only aircraft capable of effectively deploying the GBU-57, the massive ordnance penetrator that weighs in at £30,000. The biggest risk would be to if U.S. forces stationed in the region, if an Iranian personnel were to kill an American, a wider conflict could ensue with global consequences. And even over here in the UK, they're saying that that's mad. As I mentioned, the UK, look who comes on the screen. That's the spirit. I didn't even know that. Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister. So even over here in the UK, they keep talking about, Iranians getting stopped and searched and this and that and whatever. Let's see if I can bring this up. Iranian breaking news. Right? But they be throwing it out there in the news pretty much, where you got, Iranians getting arrested because they're on watch lists and so on and so forth. This ain't the first time that I've come across this. In fact, let me see. Use terror watch list. Let me see if I can pull this up. Right, so now this was a month ago. This is an example. Right, it says police given more time to question Iranian men over alleged terror plot. All right, so they're pretty much, look, they're setting up the ground. Right, this is dated the 5th of May 2025, so-called. This is a month ago, and they put this on the BBC News, man, and they're letting you know that pretty much terror is about to envelop these cities. And why are they pushing out this terror and this fear and this dread? Because they want chaos, but so that they can establish the order. They can remember they don't want to waste a major crisis or crises, right? The scripture says in 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So, expect these false flag attacks. Expect them to say that, oh, this crazy, Iranians done this and then blew this up and blew that up and, set off. In fact, the movie Mission Impossible Fallout, they even used pocket nukes in that movie. All right, so, and in that movie Fallout, who did they blame? They blamed, they called the organization the Apostles, man, in the movie Mission Impossible Fallout. So again, why would they call the enemy the Apostles? All right, and the head of the organization was called Solomon, I believe. So they know what, they're putting it in their movies. Again, it's predictive programming, and your eyes have to be open, because remember, they're gonna label us as terrorists in the near future. We're gonna be the worst things, to ever look at, to be spoken of, and you name it, man. People are gonna want us up under the jail, so they're gonna be coming for us. So we have to be ready. All right, the scripture says the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you shall be tried. But we know that this is all about a purification that we're gonna have to go through, because the Lord is gonna put us through the hour of temptation. All right, the Lord is gonna, but he's not gonna put anything on us that we ain't gonna be able to handle. The scriptures speak about that. All right, and I know that's kind of going into another lesson. Lord willing, I'll get into that. Jacob's trouble, hour of temptation, mark of the beast, all of that in another lesson. All right, but hey, we got to speak on biblical prophecies, because that chip, that's what they need to push, to put the icing on the top of the cake, so to speak, and then the cherry at that. But when they're about to fill their belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon them while he's eating. Remember, the scriptures say that in Job, the 20th chapter. So remember, they have their new world order that they want to fulfill. Novus Ordo Seclorum at the bottom of the pyramid on a dollar bill. All right. So when they go ahead to establish that, that's when the Most High is going to intervene, when they push out that chip. So this is big, man. So keep your eyes on the allies of Iran. Keep your eyes on Russia. Keep your eyes on the BRICS nations. Keep your eyes on the so-called Middle East, because things are heating up. But ultimately, keep your eye on what they're going to do in these cities as well, and push out these chipping stations and getting people chipped, because that's going to be next before World War III actually kicks off. So anyway, with that, I pray you were edified. To the next time, stay up. Shalom.